How's everybody doing tonight? We are live in Austin, Texas for Grudge Match 2, Texas Throwdown. I'm here with Rob Leverance. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing today?
We are just getting everybody set up. We're going through some warm-up right now. We got a couple of our competitors in the lanes. First matchup tonight, we're looking at David Duncan versus Bret Hartman. David out of Houston and Bret right here out of Austin, Texas. You want to give a little talk about David for me, Rob?
So David Duncan, this is his sophomore season in NATF. Last season was his rookie season. We make the drive from Houston, Texas. The reason why we do that is up until last Friday, there was no NATF facility in Houston. And we were interested in going to NATC in Toronto this season, but we found out too late. But
Right.
we still made the drive. We realized we had family out here we didn't know in the Axe community.
Yeah.
So we come out here every other Sunday to throw in our second season.
And how's that second season going so far, both for yourself and for Dave?
So far, so good. For our first season, our sort of rookie season, I say rookie season because it is our first season with NATF, but we both have been throwing axes since him and I both started about the same time, about August last year.
Okay. Great.
About 9 months.
Awesome.
But last season, I was undefeated going into the playoffs.
Wow.
With one overtime loss,
That's
and
fantastic.
then in the playoffs, I just tanked. On the flip side, David came in as the 5th seed in our playoffs, and just steamrolled. He did well, went to the B bracket, won the B bracket, played Jeff Cope, who was our main event today,
Right.
and went to 7 games and ended up losing. He had an incredible tournament. He threw a total of 216 hatchets, 38 or 39 big axes in the tournament. So he did a lot of throwing in the tournament last season.
And this season, I hear he's really on the rise. Bret as well on the rise. Like,
Yes.
I'm looking at the stats here, and we're looking at a 70 average for Bret right now and a 68 for Dave. Like, that's pretty crazy, especially for a second season, throwing
Yeah.
these rules and these targets, right?
So Bret, he had changed his throw mid-season last season.
Okay.
And since that change, he went to a Plum National. He shortened up his stroke a little bit. He changed his step and his
Tighten
distance.
everything in,
And
right?
since then, he's been lights out.
Yeah.
Like you said, above 70 average.
Yeah,
He's thrown 381 since then.
He
Which,
is doing the old Rob Leverance here, and he's doing the
Yeah.
one overtime loss so far.
yeah, he's in 2 different leagues here in Austin this season. In both leagues, he's first place with one overtime loss.
681s now,
Yeah.
which is pretty incredible. I know he's another up-and-comer. He only started 4th season of last year.
Yeah.
So he came in one season before you guys then, right?
I believe so. He told me earlier that he's been throwing since about August of last year as well.
Right.
So both David and Bret about 9 months throwing total.
Okay. Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And to have 681s for Bret and 4 for David, that's like pretty incredible for within their first 9 months of throwing. And on top of that, they're just sort of like the leagues that you guys are playing in. The Sunday Green League is what we're going to be speaking to the most
Yeah.
today. And that's kind of like the hard hitter league out here in Austin, right?
That's when we came out here on a whim. I don't know, 3 months ago, and we talked to Jeff Cope and James. They were 2 of the first people we met out here, and they influenced us to join the Sunday Green, which we were told was where all the good throwers were, because Dave and I are competitors, and we like throwing with the good throwers and picking the brains of the good throwers. And that's how you get better, is throwing with those guys.
No better way to get better than to lose to people that are better than you, right?
So that's what we did, and that's kind of what's happened. David's come a long way. His average last season and his rookie season was in the 50s in the first half, and he ended in the 70s.
Wow.
So he really upped his game. He claims that he used to do a very slow pitch, slow throw delivery, and I tell people David is a lot like just a student of the game, much like Tony Gwynn was in baseball. He talked to everybody. He picked everybody's brain. He watched videos of everybody.
Actually, believe it or not, there were probably I would say half a dozen times where David's messaged me on Facebook
Yes.
and been like, I'm doing this with my throw. I've been thinking about this. I bought this big axe. He's constantly picking people's brains and just working on it.
He talks to everybody. He gets everybody's opinion, which is amazing. We've become friends with a lot of people in the Philadelphia area where, some of the best American throwers are right now. And he constantly talks to them, and he constantly adjusts his throw. And after talking to Uncle Willie, he switched his throw to a little bit more fast-paced because it takes away from overthinking. And he just kind of grips it and rips it, and he's done a little bit better with that since then.
So how are we on pace with both of these? Is Bret that same high-velocity thrower where he's stepping up to the plate and just ripping them right off the bat, or what should we expect out of this match? Is David going to be waiting for Bret to catch up?
Well, I will say this. David's kind of got a little of the Michael Jordan flu right now. He is not feeling very well. This weekend's been a little rough with him, so he's got some medicine in him, and he's being a trooper, and hopefully he can pull the inner Michael Jordan playoff strength and have an MVP performance here.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the drive didn't really help with that either. How long were you guys in the car for?
Typically, it takes us about, on a good day, 2.5 hours from where we meet in Houston.
Okay.
If it's a bad day, Houston traffic, much like Austin traffic, it'll take 3-4 hours to get here. So
wow.
We were able to get here in about 2.5 today.
That's fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys come in early, or was it a?
We got here a little bit early. Normally on Sundays when we come out here, we get here early and we barbecue. We do some tailgating. And
I've watched a live stream of the tailgate, and I'm pretty jealous.
St. Patty's Day, we definitely had some festive green drinks, and no corned beef and hash. We had fajitas, I think.
You got to do it the Texas way, right?
Yeah.
So I believe we're about to get the match started up. We're looking in the lanes here. People are getting set up. But I just wanted to give a big thank you, a big shout out to Urban Axes and Urban Austin in particular. When we started doing these grudge match things, it was there were a lot of places that I wanted to go, and I really wanted to bring something to Texas because I know you guys have been doing some really incredible things down here. But I do want to give a really special thanks to Krista from Urban Axes because she came to me and said, we want to do a grudge match. Where do you want to do it? And I said, Austin, Texas is my first pick. She was like, that's perfect. That's where I wanted to go too. So we've been working on this for the past couple of months. We've been making everything, get to this point. And I mean, I just feel very blessed to be here, to have been able to come down to be a part of this. So huge thanks to Austin and to Urban Axis for having me. And just happy to keep this going and happy to be here. And thank you for coming all this way as well on a Tuesday night, right? I do want to give another little shout out. If you guys are interested in what you're seeing tonight, if you do like the axe throwing thing, you want to learn more about it, you can check out nationalaxe.com to find out more about the NATF, and you can check out urbanaxes.com where you can find more about leagues, private events, all these kinds of things, right? Like they've got leagues here. I believe they have 2 every Sunday, Tuesday. Was it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? They have 2 leagues on every night.
I believe so.
Sundays they do a brunch league as well, so if you're not really into staying out late on your Sunday, you can come for a midday league. So there's lots of options for lots of different lifestyles. If you want to give Axes a go, come down to Urban Austin or any NATF location in your city and give it a shot. Got to give love to the people that made it happen, So we've got the competitors in the lanes. Scoring looks like it's getting set up, but let's talk a little bit about Urban Axes Ambassador or the Axe Ambassador program, actually. So the Axe Ambassador program was started by Urban Axes to facilitate the growth of the sport within the urban community. They've started, it's almost like a sponsorship program where different people, it is not linked to skill. I want to start that off right off the bat. There are some throwers that are in this on a skill-based, merit-based kind of thing, but there are other people that are in here for just being incredible ambassadors to the sport, incredible leaders in their community, and these people are now getting accommodations to travel to different events and to little opportunities and incentives to kind of give back to those people that are really making the axe throwing community here in Austin strong. I don't know who all those people are. Maybe you could speak more to some of the people that are on that list. I know James GREGG is one of them. Jeff Cope is definitely one of them as well.
I know they gave it to a lot of the long-time first seasoners here,
Right.
and they rewarded them with that. And it is a great program. I mean, they get free T-shirts and hats and that kind of stuff, discounts on things, which is a great way to spread the word in the community in general. Can't tell you how many times I've been wearing the NATF hat at a bar or at a restaurant, and someone asking me, hey, I've never seen that logo before. What is it? And I let them know axe throwing, and their first response is, what? So it's a great way to spread the word, is wearing the swag and spreading the love of the logos from various throw houses and throughout the country.
Well, I've
continent.
Yeah, and the world even, right?
Yeah.
But I've even found today.
Oh, the Rochambeau taking place now.
Oh, we're at the sides have been chosen.
Here we go, folks.
And we are going live. Here's our first round: Bret Hartman versus David Duncan, Austin versus Houston. We're looking at fives right out of the gate.
So they are doing the classic best 2 of 3, but you have to win 4 of 7 in order to win.
So I guess I'll talk to the grudge match format from the start here. So what you're going to be seeing tonight is what would be a playoff final length match. So every round, if it is tied, we'll go to Big Axe. You got to win best 4 out of 7 to win a match, and you have to win 2 matches to win your pairing.
Fifth row. Both
going
called.
clutches.
Oh, David a little high.
David's high. Bret.
Looks like he's in.
Low.
Oh, he's low.
Going to Big Axe. Okay, so.
Both guys started off with a 20, 4 5s in a row, and then both missed the clutch.
I mean, maybe it's just a little bit of the jitters right now.
A little
right?
bit of
like
the nerves.
The cameras are on. The lights are at the exact same level they always are, but maybe it's a little hotter in here than normal, right? So, looks like Bret is. Oh no, David's going to be throwing first.
Both guys throwing the ag door, the classic ag door.
So we're going to go straight to points here. We're doing NATC style rules. David going high.
But he breaks the paint. That's still good, right?
No,
oh, it's
we're
1.
going right to points.
Straight to points.
Yeah. So if Bret hits anything better than 1 here, bullseye will definitely do it. So Bret takes round 1. Going to round 2 now. Now the reason we wanted to do this grudge match format, it was actually the invention of this event format came through the Sport of Axe Throwing Facebook page, where a bunch of people were joking around in a comment section like, oh, what if we had like dream matchups where people that you'd always wanted to see play in a tournament, but maybe because of how the tournament bracket works, they've never gotten to play each other. And that was like, hey, so why don't we just do it? Let's do like a playoff final, full length, and see what happens, right? So the first one happened in Philly.
Tied going into the 5th row.
And the second one's here in Austin. Up to throw clutches. David's good.
Looks like
Bret
they're both.
also
We're going
good.
to Big Axe again.
Big Axe again. Here we go. But the reason we picked the NATC style scoring was because we really wanted to feel like it's that like NATC level playoff. You know, it's like the Strawn and Julio level matchup. People are cheering. People are excited. David to hit a 5 to match. If he matches, clutches are active.
Oh, double tap. Sticks the bullseye and falls out. I think David's feeling maybe a little nervous right now. You mentioned Strawn. Strawn was in Houston last weekend.
I saw that.
And we hung out with him a little bit, and we picked his brain. No better person to pick their brain than that guy.
That's very true. Not wrong there.
I do want to put it out there that I skunked him in cornhole.
I love it. I would take any win over Strawn. If I beat him at rock, paper, scissors, I'd be telling everybody, man.
He did at one point throw the bag like an axe, and he made his first 2 or 3.
Again, not surprising.
Well, that might be a 3 from Bret. Device might be called. Measure it. So one of the best pieces of advice I ever had when I first started throwing NATF, which was at Choptober last year in New Jersey, was if anything's
you
questionable.
Were in Choptober.
Yeah, that was my first experience with NATF.
I didn't realize you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Wow.
I didn't know anybody.
That was my first major tournament.
Oh, no
That
kidding.
was like life-changing for me.
It was good? It was
Yeah.
fun? Yeah, that was my first time NATF, and multiple people told me if there's anything that's ever close, just measure it no matter what. And that's been one of the best pieces of advice as a new NATF thrower, which we're about to have a lot of new NATF throwers in Houston. If you're listening, always measure. Bring out the device, do some science.
And I mean, another thing with the device to even think about, did Bret hit clutch.
Bret took that
and
one.
Dave missed that one. So Bret is up 3
to
none. But
wow, that's
tough
a
drop for Bret.
uncharacteristic drop.
But yeah, the thing about the device measure, sometimes, and I mean this, I'm going to give you a little like insider tip here. Sometimes even if I know it's a 3, but I'm a little shook up because I just threw a 3, I'll call a device anyways just to get that little breather.
Oh, nice.
Get 30 seconds, a minute.
That 30-second
just kind
timeout.
of reset. And you know they're going up and they're measuring the 3.
Speaking of a 30-second timeout.
Right? So you get a little break here. Bret can hang back, regroup, think about what happened. Whether it's a bullseye or a 3, it's out of his hands at this point.
So what do you think is going through David's head right now?
I think he's feeling pretty good right now, especially after the drop in the 3.
This doesn't
like
really
there's a
play
chance.
into his fast pitch that he likes to do.
No.
But I gotta give him kudos. His sock game is improved. That's normally my thing. But his birthday last weekend, that was a present from one of my sisters.
I love that you guys.
David just dropped.
Oh wow.
He just stuck again. Those boards are fresh boards. They're a little bit harder.
So we're both going clutches.
Overall, the boards are a little bit soft here.
Bret could take the first match here.
Clutch.
No good for Bret.
Outside.
David
takes that
round
one.
4.
All right. This is game 5.
This is game. Oh, a little wobbly on Bret's axe. Still 5 though. I think this is something that I definitely wanted to bring up for this match is nicknames in the NATF are a pretty hilarious thing that we all get assigned to us. Some of us have chosen them. I myself definitely did not. But these are 2 of the greatest nicknames in axe throwing that I think I've heard. So Bret the Hitman Hartman, obviously a wrestling reference there, and then David's is La Flamba Blanca, right? Is that how you say that?
La Flama Blanca, yeah.
Flama Blanca.
It is it's a very gringo type accent, but yeah, that is the White Flame, which he got from a TV show, mostly because he does fast pitch.
I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, David.
No.
He under-rotated. The axe dropped.
5th throw.
Oh, wow.
Bret puts it out of reach with that one.
No
That's
paint
the
bullseye.
first match. So we're going to match number 2 here. So remember, folks, the way this works is it's like a playoff final, and consider it as both people are coming from the B bracket. So we play that first match. Whoever has lost has another chance to come back, but if they win the second match, we got to go again, right? So you gotta win 2 on 2 out of potentially 3 full matches here.
Yeah.
For some of our newer viewers, let's speak to scoring, though. If you want to maybe talk about the scoring on the boards.
So with NATF, we have the bullseye. It's 7 inches in diameter. The blade has to be in the majority in, 50% in. And if it's close, that's when you'll see we'll bring out the caliper to measure whether or not it is or not. The red ring, which is 17 inches in diameter, is worth 3 points. And the blue ring, which is 27, is worth 1. On the 5th throw, the green dot, the clutch, is activated, which is worth 7 points.
And that's what we were going for there. They both missed, so we're going to big X here. And maybe, so for people at home, you get 5 throws on a round. at the end of the round, whoever's in the lead will traditionally throw first, and then if you tie the match, you go to Big X. So the way the Big X works is the same point values as the little hatchet target. The only difference is on that first throw, only inside the blue is active, and if you both hit those bullseyes, we're good to go for the clutches like you would on that fifth hatchet round.
Bullseye. Bret looking pretty hot with the Big Axe right now. So for the people in Houston that are going to be new to NATF, we got, you see the red, the black, and the blue line on the floor. The black line is the starting line. It's 170 inches from the wood, which is approximately 9 feet or so.
Yeah, about that.
And you can start with a foot in front, but one must remain behind the black line when you start throwing. And then you can take a step up to the red line, onto the red line, but not past.
Yeah.
And you also have to stop your momentum to a full pause before you go past the red line, as well as wait for the other thrower to complete their throw.
Yeah, both axes have to be passed. You have to make a conscious pause. It doesn't mean you have to stop dead, but we do need to see you take a moment, recognize the red line, and then pass through.
Yeah.
That way, it's just for safety, so no bouncing axes are coming back and hitting people in the chest or anything like that. Right?
No viral videos.
No viral videos today.
The blue line is the 18-foot mark for the Big Axe. We'll talk more about that if they go to Big Axe. Bret drains the clutch.
And Bret takes that second round, so he's
round.
up 2 rounds to none here. But that blue line with the Big Axe functions the same as the black line does on the hatchet. It's your starting line. 1 foot needs to be behind it.
Yeah.
And then your black line becomes the fault line. So you have to make sure you consciously pause at that black line before you move to the target. Even though you're not throwing against somebody else, just want to make sure you're not passing that fault line.
David's throwing an axe gang, which he modified a little bit. He cut it down because those axe gangs come whatever the ridiculous length they are, 20 inches or so. He favors that for the shorter throw from roughly about 9 feet. Bret throwing a Plum National, which was made from James GREGG here in Austin, who was on the American All-Star team for the NA. Oh, David a little wide.
Oof. So we're at 3-0 here. If Bret Hartman can pull off the win on this round, that could be the match. That's the match, right? So we're really down to the wire here. David's got to pull something impressive out here, or Bret will take this match. Still tied. All bullseyes so far. Looking low for Bret.
It's going to be a measure. Science called.
Again, maybe just for the break, maybe because it's close. We don't know. We can't see from here. But, yeah, Bret's really been on this match, aside from that one drop and, a couple of measures. But he's really been hitting it all.
David taking a nice deep breath right there.
Yeah.
Collect his thoughts, get his game face back on. Just spoke with Daniel over here. Daniel is a custom axe guy on the side as a hobby. He makes some incredible axes.
No.
David, it went in a little wobbly.
That could be the match right there.
Popped out.
Final axe. Bret calling clutch.
Attaboy, Bret. Nails it.
And he nails it. And Bret.
I like that kind of spirit
He's
in
the
a thrower. He could have easily played it safe, went for a bullseye, but he decided to go for a clutch. Well done, Bret.
And that's, again, one of those things that it really takes, one, the level of sportsmanship, respect, maybe, but also just, the guts. Like, I know if I'm at nationals or something, or I'm in a big tournament, and I'm up by, 4 or 3 or whatever, and I got a chance to take it. Like, as much as I like all you guys, I don't know if I'm throwing that clutch every time.
I mean, maybe it's a different story when you're at an NATC and you have 10,000 on the line.
Yeah, fair enough.
And maybe in the grudge match, respect and and pride on the line. But, I mean, he feels pretty comfortable. His call rate in the league is like 93% or something like that.
So he's just playing his game.
And we've had this conversation before here at Sunday Green that my accuracy rate on clutches is only like right around 60%, but my call rate's 95.
Hey, that's the way to get that other part.
And my mentality behind that is I want to be one of the best.
Right.
I want to be in the championship at NATC, and I can't do that without hitting a clutch in pressure situations. So I'm going to do that anytime. If I'm down, if I can put it out of reach, I'm still going to go for the clutch. And if I take the loss, I take the loss. But either way, I'm putting myself in a way where I can win.
And that's something that I've been doing myself in my own games is I feel like I'm always trying to focus on my own game, not the other person I'm playing against. Because the person that's going to cost you the match is never your opponent. It's the mistakes you make yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're committing yourself to the same level of competition, the same accuracy, the same stress level, if you're throwing for if 75 is what you're throwing for every time, and you want to be working on that, that's really the thing that you should hold yourself to that standard, win or loss, because it's going to benefit you in the long run.
Sure.
If you're always playing the person next to you, the person next to you is the only person you're ever going to beat, right?
Sure.
But if you're constantly playing against yourself, then that's the way you're going to get better, is you're constantly beating what you've done before.
Yeah. So congratulations to Bret for taking the first of the grudge match today.
And I believe we're going to cut out to a wide angle here for a second while we do a little commentator swap. Rob, it's been great having you on.
Thank you, Matt.
I'm so glad you made it out for this.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, no, this was fantastic. So the next commentator I'm going to be having joining us for our second match here is my man Kevin. Kevin is one of the locals here in Austin. He throws in league with these fine folks, and Kevin's going to be speaking to us about the match. He's going to give a little more context where I can't. Like, as much as I follow you guys on Axe Scores, and as much as I like to watch the numbers, I feel like there's just something about being here in person that you kind of need. You need these people that really know the pulse of the room, the games on the floor. So welcome, Kevin. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Matt. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So what league are you throwing in here, and what's your connection to our throwers this evening?
So I throw in the Tuesday Blue League, which is going on right now as we speak.
Okay.
And my biggest connection, Chelsea is actually my coach for
Oh,
our
fantastic.
league, and is throwing interleague this season.
Okay.
And then just no Chara from some of the walk-ins and the interleague play.
Okay, cool. So Chara's the one on the left here.
Correct.
Chelsea is the one on the right. These are two of our top female competitors from here in Austin. Also, two great members of the community. I asked multiple people who they thought should be in this grudge match setup, and these names kept coming up over and over and over again. So,
Absolutely. So Chelsea's actually one of the Urban Axe coaches, so she works here. Obviously a huge ambassador to the sport.
Yeah.
Very active in the women of axe throwing as
Yeah.
well. And then Chara the same way as one of our new axe ambassadors here for Urban Axes, helping promote the sport and bringing back feedback from those that are out here throwing.
that's fantastic. So round one, here we go. Action starts now. Coming out of the gate, looking at a 3 and a 5.
All right.
So we got Chelsea up by 2, second axe.
Well, looks like another 3 for Chara and a 3 for Chelsea.
So Chelsea's still up by 2. So something I did want to speak to today, the Ladies of the Axe, which you actually referenced a little earlier, they're having an event in Hamilton, Ontario at the end of the month. You can find all that information on Facebook, but I just want to give a big special shout out to the Women of Axe Throwing and that whole community, and make sure you come out and you support the ladies in your community and you come out to these kinds of events.
Yeah, encouraging more and more activity. So it looks like our final axe, Chara, is now up by 2.
Oh,
And she hits a 3. Chelsea's got the easy win with a bullseye. And she nails it.
so we're going to big axe. tied on that round.
Yeah.
So remember, folks at home, in the grudge match format, we're playing NATC rules. So on every tied round, we're going to go to big axe. This is the traditional rock, paper, scissors to decide who throws first.
Yep. Chara's trying to find her big X right now. So Chelsea won the rock, paper, scissors, selected to have Chara throw first.
Now the nice thing about getting the other person to throw first is the benefit here is you know what you need to hit, right? So if they throw a 3, they throw a 1, the pressure is kind of off. You can throw a bullseye and take it, or even throw a 3 and take it. But if you're coming in blind as the first thrower, you kind of got to go big or go home.
That's right. You got to hit it first. Tough break for Chara with the drop. So now any points for Chelsea takes the win.
And a
Chelsea
3 will
nails
do
the
it.
3. Absolutely.
So second round here. Chelsea takes round 1. Chara now on the right. Chelsea on the left. The traditional clinking of the axes to show that we're both ready to throw. We're both good to go, ready to get the game on. So, going to give you a little background on our throwers here. So, Chelsea on the left is Chelsea Goodall, but her nickname here is Coach Cheesy Wheezy.
Correct.
Do you know where that came from?
I do, actually, as a matter of fact. So one of our other coaches here, when he met her, said, hey, you really remind me, I had a dog named Chelsea, but we always called her Cheesy Wheezy. And so Chelsea suddenly adopted that as her nickname. So going into the third act, Chelsea's now up by 4.
Also, Chelsea is a tough drop for Chara
tough
there.
drop.
So Chelsea's up by 3 after that drop, but Chelsea is a born and raised Austinite. She's been living in South Austin her entire life, which I think is kind of a rare thing for Austin, Texas.
Super rare.
A lot of transplants in this town.
Yeah.
But she was the first urban Austin female league coach and league runner. She's been doing it for 5 seasons and counting. And, these are the kinds of people we want to have in our community, people that are here to stick around, help grow the community, and, throw damn well, too.
Absolutely. It's great. Chelsea was actually my first coach, the first league I played in. She helped me a ton learning as I was getting going. She took a few seasons off from throwing, actually just coming back this season, and suddenly she's been lighting it up. So she's actually currently sitting first in our league.
She's currently sitting in
first place.
In first
our
place.
league.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh. So Jeff Cope's going to give us a score here. Chara's up by 6, fifth axe to take the round here.
Yeah, could take it with any points. And nails the bullseye.
Throws that bullseye, takes the round.
Oh. So we tap and switch again.
Round 4 of the first match.
So we're on to round 4 of match 1. Chelsea lands the bullseye. Oh, Chara gets the 3 on that one.
So Chara is Chara Green. She has been axe throwing in the Sunday Blue League for 5 seasons. So this is another one of those Austin vets that's really been around the block in the axe throwing world. A little mix up on the device call there.
Yeah, it was interesting talking with Chara. She came out for a birthday event. One of the great things of how people get started at Urban Axes. Did the birthday event with friends. Then she and her husband and some friends came in for some walk-ins. Actually met with some of the other throwers who are here today. They're like, hey, you should join this league thing. And they signed up that day. And she's been throwing ever since.
Wow, that's fantastic. And so what was your story? How did you get into the Urban Austin community?
Very similar. Came out for a corporate event.
Okay.
We were doing a team building event. We saw a bunch of people over having a blast. Asked our coach, hey, what is that all about? Found out, they have
tough
leagues.
drop for Chara.
And we all jumped in, we have to join league. So actually 8 of us from work joined a league together.
Wow.
I'm now the last one left. So we dwindled over the seasons.
Fair enough.
But we had a blast.
That's fantastic that so many of you joined from that one event.
Yeah.
Who was and you said Chelsea was the event leader on that?
So Chelsea was my first league coach.
Oh,
but
okay.
actually, Camden, one of the other coaches here, was one of our first coaches at that event. And I
must
throw
have been a
against
great
him.
league runner
Yeah.
to get 8 people to sign up at the end of an event.
Yeah. So Chelsea gets the 5 off the measurement.
Okay.
Very uncharacteristic for Chara to have these many drops. She was telling me earlier she actually switched up her throw tonight. So she's actually throwing a little bit different throw than normal, and I wonder if that's not some of her issues right now, where she's having some more of those drops.
So is she now doing this flick throw? Is that the new
little
throw
bit more
that
of
we're
a
working
flick,
on?
yeah. So she's actually one of the interesting ones. Like most people, started out with two-handed. Her first league switched to a one-handed, right-handed, and then partway through the league decided to go snowboarding, fell and hurt her wrist.
Oh, no.
So the last 3 weeks of league, she actually had to switch to left-handed and still play 6th in the playoffs.
Wow.
Switching to
That's
left-handed.
fantastic. These are the kind of stories that I'm really glad that I can get from you folks that are here, because you can't really see somebody at a broken wrist on axe scores. You know what I mean?
Right.
But definitely 2 different throwing styles here. Chara with that, what has been dubbed the Canadian flick,
Correct.
which is that hand right out in front, a little bit of wrist action at the
Just
end
at
to
that
get
last
that
second.
spin.
Yep.
But Chelsea with the more traditional, big arm, big muscle throw that we see from a lot of the old school throwers that have been around for a while.
Absolutely. And with Chelsea comes from a softball background. So that's what she says. She has to force herself to not throw it like she throws a softball. But
So
you can
not
still see a lot
underhand.
of right. Definitely not underhand. But you definitely see that power coming through in the way she flings it.
And I mean, this is the thing about these 2 different throwing styles is there's pros and cons to both. So I find with a lot of people when they're doing these flick throws, it's you gotta really tighten it up and be really on your game, landing toe on the majority of your throws, because that axe is coming in a little soft.
Right.
Up by 6, clutch to tie here.
Yep, Chelsea going for that clutch.
And
and she makes
she
it.
smokes it.
That is a tough shot to make right there. But
Nice.
It is good.
Takes the
For
round.
the win.
Chelsea takes the first match.
Well
We're
done.
going to match 2. Got to win 2 matches, so if Chelsea wins the second match, she will win the matchup. But if Chara wins the second match, we will go to a third. Just double checking on the axe scores here. If you guys are interested in checking out the stats from all of the players tonight, you can go to axescores.com. You can go right into the statistics section. You can do either a compare tool or you can look at league statistics. We've got breakdowns of everyone's averages, clutch accuracy, all these kinds of things. So definitely check out axescores.com if you want to see what kind of throwers you're looking at tonight. All the information's there. And it's actually what we're using ourselves for a lot of the broadcasts, a lot of the stats we're looking at tonight. Tough 3 for Chara there.
Yeah.
Chelsea's up by 2.
Yeah, Chelsea now on the left, up by 2 on the second throw. Nails another bullseye. Ooh, Chara may be a little close. See if she's going to call for the science to have the device measurement. Oh, nope, she takes the 3.
She's taking the 3.
Chelsea up by 4.
So looking at their compared stats here, over the last 12 months, Chara's win percentage is 70.6, so she's definitely used to being a champion. Chelsea not as high as a 57.8, but so she's probably feeling pretty good right now the way the match is going so far.
She absolutely has to. And I think a lot of that is a function in the league that Chelsea has traditionally played in, one of our toughest leagues. A lot of killer throwers out there, really tough to beat.
And I mean, that kind of like trial by fire situation is definitely showing here. She seems pretty unshaken by this match, just confident every throw. Definitely there's been a few points where things have gone sour for Chara, and you can see it on her face that she's just not as happy with her
The
performance.
emotions definitely kick in.
Yeah.
It's hard to get out of your head when you're up in that lane trying to drown out everybody else, get out of your own head.
We've got a pretty big crowd here already. Like we're pretty packed in. This isn't your average league night where it's just a couple of people watching the match. There's a lot of spectators here, and all you folks at home watching as well. I'm sure the camera, adds 10 pounds of pressure.
Absolutely. It's that extra pressure knowing everybody's here, focusing solely on you.
Yeah.
Even on league night, most of the time people are still chatting. They may watch the game. They're also socializing a lot. Tough drop for Chelsea all of a sudden.
Yeah. Chara to capitalize, hits that bullseye. Takes the round.
Yes, one of Chelsea's brag facts is that in her league she's actually beaten Jeff Cope and James GREGG, our main event throwers tonight.
Wow.
So she's very proud of that in her different seasons.
A real solid bullseye from
for both
Chelsea
sides.
there and from Chara as well. But what I was talking about with the throws earlier, the flick throw, if you can dial it in, tends to be a little bit more accurate than your big overhand throw.
Right.
But the overhand throw has a lot more drive force.
Yep,
so
and you can see it in that example right there where Chara had that wiggle almost about to drop an axe.
Exactly. Whereas for the majority of Chelsea's throws, we're pretty much going through the wall.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can hear the thud every time she drills it in. Yeah, and it's that difference. One reason people have moved to the flick is that you'll see as they're standing there, Chelsea's standing much farther back, finishes fairly close, but Chara's going to finish just as close as she possibly can.
Right.
Narrows that average where you can miss, shrinks down the target, gets you a lot easier into dialing that in.
Yeah, me and some of my friends refer to that as the accuracy cone. So if you think of your accuracy as a cone going out from the extension of the axe, the closer you can get to that board, the further in you are on that cone, the tighter the accuracy is.
Yeah, your margin of error just keeps decreasing.
Exactly.
Chara now up by 4 in this match.
Oh. And
Chelsea seems to have lost her bullseye a little bit. Chara calling for the measurement.
I've noticed that the Austin community refers to the device call as science.
Yeah.
I see that a lot on the live streams and stuff. I'll see people throwing their arms up and yelling science, which I think is a pretty hilarious thing.
Yeah, and for those watching, if you weren't aware, we are measuring to make sure it's the majority of blade into which of the circles. So that's where you're going to get the point. So
and
right now,
it is to the outside edge of that paint as well. So that's something to keep in mind is when you're walking up on those axes, it could look like it is clearly in the lower point value, but because the line can be a little deceiving. So
absolutely.
You always got to make sure if it's even questionable, even if you think it's a 3, but there's, the tiniest little chance it might be a 5, you got to call
it's
it.
worth the shot. Yeah. And definitely the farther back to that cone of accuracy, even sitting back here, as we look at it, we have one angle, always looks much different than when you get right up on the board and understand exactly what that angle of the blade is doing sitting in the wood.
Mm-hmm. And it is whatever of the blade is buried in the board. So if you're throwing on the toe of that blade, you might only have half an inch to an inch of blade in the board, where if you're hitting the face, you're looking at 3-4 inches of blade. So it's always a different situation every time.
Obviously a very tough one, as Jeff is spending quite a bit of time trying to get that measurement right.
Well, I mean, he's a precise guy.
He is.
He really does everything down to the millimeter here. I was actually talking to him last night. He's built his own tiny house, and he lives in a small bus.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Jeff calls it for the 5.
Measurements and making sure everything's calculated down to the inches. For sure something that's important to him even in his home life.
Absolutely. So our 4th axe, Chara is now up by 6. Could be putting this away pretty quick. Ooh, another one. Does call the 5. So Chara's currently up by 6. She's going to be given the chance to throw first so that Chelsea knows how many points she may need to win.
Or if she hits high enough, gets out of reach, we move on to the next round, which is the case.
Looks like she did. Yeah. So out of reach, so Chelsea just didn't even take her last throw.
There we go. So we've got 2 rounds apiece, 5th round here. But remember that Chelsea did take that first match, so Chara really needs to pull it together in this match to force the third. If Chelsea wins this one, that's the end.
Oh, and Chelsea gets another tough drop.
And that's what Chara's hoping for right now.
Absolutely. Chara capitalizes with a bullseye. It's really hard to come back from a drop at this level of competition.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, unless you get a lucky drop from the other side as well, it's looking like that's probably the end of the situation for you, because these people are majority throwing 5s and 3s. In this case, that round goes out of reach. Chara up 3 rounds to 2 now.
Yeah.
If she wins this, she will force a third match and a drop by Chelsea.
Another one. Yeah, this is one of those where you can see Chelsea, I think, is now starting to get emotional about it. It's getting a little bit into her head, psyching herself out.
Yeah, the confidence and the composure that we were seeing earlier in this setup were not so much here now.
That's right. It's definitely one of those times where you have to stop yourself, take a deep breath, reset. And we've all been there.
Yeah.
You get locked into that competition and the pressure.
Well, something I actually do at home is in one of my leagues, I throw only bullseyes, win or lose. Every
Okay.
throw's a bullseye, and it's because it forces me to remember to focus on every single X. I'm not worrying about the score of the match. I'm not worrying about. Chara takes the
Chara does take
second
that.
match here. So third match starts now.
Yep.
The winner of this match will be the champion of this pairing. Now remember, this is the grudge match style format, so there's no tournament bracket tonight. After this match, that is it for our competitors. The way this works is similar to a UFC event, a boxing event, any sort of those, you know, sports-based tiered sports, right? Where your pairings come up, you play your match, and then it goes on to a new pairing, and it's a completely separate
on to the next
thing.
match on the card.
Yeah.
And you'll notice there they just went up and sprayed water on the boards, does a couple of things, makes the boards a little softer, easier to stick those axes. It also prolongs the wood. So the softer wood actually will cut instead of just splitting out, so it saves on having to replace the boards quite as often.
And something that I see at leagues sometimes is people just forgetting to spray their boards. Every opportunity you can get, spray those boards. So before every match, we're going to see people spraying these boards, hopefully to keep those targets nice and damp so that they stay together, because if your target starts getting worn out midway through a match, we can't do a board change in the middle of a match.
That's right, only before or after a match. And definitely not the way you want to lose a match. To have a drop because there's a hole in your board and you can't get it to stick. So we're all tied up. Chelsea seems to have found her bullseye
There
now.
we go. Chelsea's really zoned in here in the third match.
Yeah,
Up by 2, fourth X.
Oh, now Chelsea hits the 3.
And
Chara
we're
answers
tied
at
up
5.
again.
So we have a tie game. Now the question is, do they throw at the same time and both go clutch? Looks like that's what Chara is hinting towards. Nope.
No clutch is
they're gonna
called here.
Go bullseye.
Oh.
And tough call for Chelsea.
Oh,
Hits that
wow.
one. So
That was
Chara
a
takes
big
the
round
first
for Chara.
It was.
So she took that 23. 25 is a perfect round. That's 5 bullseyes. But the best round you can get is a 27. That's including that clutch on the 5th throw. The clutch traditionally was used as sort of a Hail Mary attempt. Say you're down by 6. You got a couple extra points to throw for, and it was something that people traditionally considered impossible to hit. And now it's something where when you're competing at a level like this, if you're tied, there's a good chance that that other person's going to be able to hit that clutch.
That's right. Not that it's an automatic, but it's definitely not that unicorn shot of it's a 1 in a million either.
Yeah, definitely not the days of yesteryear. Ooh, tough 3 for Chara there.
Yeah, and Chelsea unfortunately had that drop. Got a little bit of an angle on her blade.
5th axe up by 5. To put it up 2 rounds to none. Chara hits it.
Let's see where it's
Oh.
measured. Either way, it's going to be out of reach.
Switching sides here. So Chara up 2 rounds to none here
Yeah,
on
Chelsea
this third
now in that
match.
hole. Oh, tough break on the 3 again.
And this has been kind of the the awesome outcome that I was hoping for with some of these grudge match pairings where, you know, you go to all 3 rounds, maybe somebody just blows out that first match.
Right.
And then later there's this, you know, Cinderella story comeback situation that we're seeing right here in front of us today.
Yeah, hopefully with a little bit of this measurement, it gives Chelsea a chance to calm herself back down,
Yeah.
dial herself back into those bullseyes she was hitting earlier.
Me and Rob were talking about that earlier in the last match where sometimes it's in your favor to call for a device, even if you think it's probably a 3, just to get that break.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do throw at whatever pace you feel is comfortable. You can take a timeout if you want to, but it's a little more respectable to do it on a device call than to just
That's
stand in the lane for a
have an
minute.
excuse to take that break.
Yeah.
Yep, some people don't like it. They feel it throws them out of a rhythm. Other people kind of want that, let me reset, let me get a breath real quick.
Chara up by 2 here.
Now Chelsea's got that bullseye. Oh, and Chara answers with that 3.
All tied up.
Going into the last acts.
No clutch call here.
Yeah,
Going
playing
for
it safe.
bulls.
Oh, tough one. Chelsea
3,
makes the 3.
and the bullseye for Chara.
Looks like it. Yeah.
And see, she takes 3
Takes the round by
rounds to
2.
none now. So Chara can,
Chara up by 3.
she can win the whole thing on this round. And she's already up by 2. I'm not sure if you folks at home can hear that in the background, but the crowd is really cheering for Chelsea, trying to inspire her to really lock it in and get the courage she needs to pull this thing back.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the great things about the axe community in general. Obviously, we're all competitive. We all want to win. But at the same time, we want great matches.
Yeah.
We always want to cheer for the underdog. We always want to see people do well.
A tough drop for Chelsea there. That could be it. Up by 7. Chelsea definitely just hoping.
Oh, and then she comes out with a 1.
This could be the match.
I believe that's going to be an out
Bullseye
of
for
reach now.
Chara.
Yeah, at axe 4 already out of reach, so we call the match.
Chara is your
Chara takes the
champion
win.
on the match.
Well done.
What
well
a
done.
fantastic performance, and what a comeback after a 4-1 round loss on
Absolutely.
that first match.
Yep.
To come back and sweep it in 4 on the 3rd.
Yep, great showing by Chelsea. No shame in that loss whatsoever.
Oh, what a match, like front to back. Both throwers fantastic.
And we have our next match coming up.
Our next match is going to be Nathan and Miguel, and we're going to
I'm gonna trade you out.
Yeah, we're going to do a quick trade out on the broadcast situation right now. So big thanks to you, Kevin, for joining us
Absolutely,
on this match.
Matt. It's great
really
to hang out with you a
appreciate
little
having you in here. Our next person that's going to be joining us
I believe you have
on the
Candace coming in.
broadcast is going to be Candace, yes.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your match. I'm going to go
Thank you
through
so
some
much.
axes.
Yeah. So while I'm waiting for Candace to get over here, I'm going to just talk to you guys again about Urban Axes here in Austin. Fantastic facility. That is there we go. It's a fantastic facility, whole lot of space, whole lot of leagues. And they're really doing a great job. They just got a brand new mural. It looks beautiful here. I don't know if you guys saw it at the beginning of the broadcast, but the mural was just finished this week leading up to the grudge match. So really fantastic look to the space. And I just want to welcome Candace Hines here.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me.
Hi.
How are you? How's your night going?
I'm really good. I'm kind of doing double duty here. I'm also throwing in a Tuesday green.
Oh, okay. And how's your night been throwing-wise on your league?
So far so good. I just threw a 71, so I'm
Nice.
okay with that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I had very good competition. I threw up for her.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you've thrown one match tonight, or is
Just
there
one.
Just the one.
Just one so far. I've got 3 more to go.
Nice. And how are you standing in that league?
5th? I think I'm 5th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. So we're just doing some practice throws here. We've got Miguel and Nathan. What? I know.
We know.
We're doing practices. Yeah, so we've got Miguel and Nathan up for this match. Nathan is the Champs Points champion. He was the guy that was at the top of the Champs Points last year, #1 seeded because of his performances here in Austin. Round number 1 starts now. Bullseyes for both right out of the gate.
So a little known fact about Nathan. He's an Urban Axis coach, but he is also a stage performer. So he specializes in musical theater and Shakespeare.
He was telling me earlier that he had been around Urban for quite a while, and they had asked him to work here like over and over and over again, but he didn't want to give up his time that he could do shows and things like that.
That's true.
And the Axe family won him over, and now he works here. He's one of the team. So both going clutches here on the 5th Axe. Nathan hits his, Miguel hits his, and we're going to Big Axe.
Nathan is actually, he was in our very first league season.
Yeah, he's one of the OGs here.
He is the O-est of G's.
Yeah.
And a lovely person on top of it.
Yeah, I hung out with Nathan a lot at the Nationals and at prom. Wow, beautiful bullseye for him there. And really just a gem. Like I knew Grudge Match was coming, and I might have had a couple too many beers at Nationals and told the whole gang before I was supposed to, but they kind of kept it quiet for long enough, and clutches are now active after Miguel's bullseye. So we are going clutch on the first round. This is already big. Nathan to throw first. Oh, he smokes it. I love that Urban Austin
So
vest.
clarify the rules for me for Big Axe in
So
this
it's
style of tournament.
NATC rules here. So we are going straight
Can they
to
go
points.
straight to clutch, though?
Can't go straight to clutch. So you got to go
Bull first.
bullseyes first. Clutches are active after that.
Okay.
With that miss, Nathan takes round 1, going to round 2 here. But yeah, so the way that the Grudge Match format works, for the people that maybe are just joining us now, we are doing what would be a playoff length match format. So it's best 4 out of 7 rounds, and then you have to win that 4 out of 7 twice. So you win once. If the other person wins, we could go to a third match, which we actually just saw with the Chara and Chelsea match. And Big Axe on every round if tied. Pair of bulls again. I can't say I'm expecting a whole lot of, ooh, yeah. Still, even on the ones that are iffy, still a clear bullseye. These guys are top quality contenders here.
They're
in
real
Austin.
surgeons. Clutch, and it's no good.
Oh, tough break for Miguel. So Nathan is now up 2 rounds. But I do want to speak to their actual competitive streak here. So this season they played each other once, and Nathan lost that match to Miguel. Miguel threw a 74, Nathan a 68. Both great scores, though. And looking at their stats over the past 12 months. Again, you can find all this information at axscores.com if you want to follow along. That's Miguel C on the left, and then Nathan F, both from Urban Axes Austin. You can find them on axscores.com and look at these scores yourself. Both 81 throwers. That is our highest score available in the NATF. And both on their current seasons right now have thrown those 81s. Nathan with a 72.4 average, smoking his bullseye, and Miguel with a 72.2 average. Oh, unfortunately missing that clutch. Nathan's up 3 rounds to none here. Miguel's stepping back, definitely taking a deep breath. He's really got to compose himself here.
For both. I think Nathan's many years of performing probably helps his nerves.
Oh, definitely. I mean, as stressed as I get throwing axes, I definitely could never sing on a stage. That's not something I have in my deck of cards. But Candace, what about yourself? What's your background here in Austin? Your background with Axes? How did you get started? What brought you into it all?
I was brought here on a date, actually.
Really? And you're still together now. You're getting married next month.
That is not the case. I
That's
was brought
fair
here
enough.
on a date in about November of 2017. I loved throwing axes. It was not love with him.
Yeah.
But,
The
in
date
fact, it was a
maybe wasn't-
singular date.
Maybe they weren't as good at throwing
But-
axes, and they got
but
pretty upset
what I
about
got
it.
out of it was a love for throwing axes and all these people that I know now.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful community. So if you're watching and you don't do this and you're not part of a league, you are missing out on a great community.
And yeah, to speak to the leagues, actually, they have 8 leagues here in Austin. They run Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Nice.
2 leagues on each night. So all different walks of life, all different types of schedules
There's-
can.
Takes it in 4. We're going to match
Nathan
number
takes that
2.
first match, 4-round sweep with that big X bullseye at the end. A really incredible
Beautiful.
performance there. But this is the thing, though. Miguel was still throwing pretty flawlessly. He just missed a few clutches, and his big axe wasn't quite as tight as Nathan's, and that ended in a 4-round sweep. So we really got to be on here for this to.
Yeah, Miguel's a stellar competitor. Nathan is he's just amazing.
Third X. Tie game.
So Nathan has won 5 championships here in Austin. He was the undefeated champ going to NATC to represent Austin from his league. That was the Wednesday Blue League, I believe. And Miguel has now won 2 championships. So this really is a battle of the champs here. And they do throw in different leagues, and Austin has kind of had this setup where the winners of each of those leagues play against each other, and Nathan has beat Miguel 2 times in those playoff champions battles. They actually also met in the most recent,
Miguel takes it.
clutch for Miguel. A change of pace here. Miguel up 1 round to none for Nathan. But they were actually the 2 finalists in Austin's recent Around the World competition, both through the Around the World event, which for those at home, you throw a left inside the blue, left inside the red, bullseye, right inside the red, right inside the blue, and then go for clutch. And if you throw all of those in succession perfectly, that's called going in 6. They both did it in 6 and went to a clutch off, and Nathan ended up pulling out the win there.
Number 4. Tie game.
Tie game, 4th throw here. I'm generally expecting bullseyes. And did I
Close.
jinx it?
Maybe a little science.
Jeff Cope on the lane. Jeff is one of our competitors in the final match, which is going to be coming up after this one. I got to meet Jeff back at NATC at prom, and he was one of the fellas that came in a cowboy hat. And I had to go and talk to the guy. You know, you don't see a lot of cowboy hats in Toronto.
I was there as well, and it was an inordinate number of cowboy hats for Canada.
Yeah.
Though the Austin guys came with it, and several came in the quote-unquote Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah.
Head to toe denim.
Yeah.
It was a good look. They went home with ladies.
There we go. We got a round apiece after Nathan hit that clutch. Both of these throwers actually hit their first 81s this season within a week of each other. And I don't know if you can gather from all of the stats I've been talking about so far, but this is probably the closest pairing we could have put together tonight. These guys are neck and neck, both champions, both 81 throwers, just doing it all.
Nathan's first 81 was on his very first match this season.
Was it? I guess he had something to prove coming after losing his championship title in season 1 this year after
It
going
stings
undefeated.
a little.
It does.
Sometimes got an axe to grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know. Don't reward that.
Oh, I love it. That was great.
Nice, beautiful.
Clutches for both, and we're going to Big Axe. Again, I want to say a big thanks to Urban Austin for hosting this. They've been incredible hosts for both me and my girlfriend Lindsay, aka Pitts. We've been here since last night, and I already had a hangover this morning, so Austin's treated me well.
You're welcome.
Oh,
tough break.
tough three. Ooh. So we're up 2-1 here. Nathan still powering through. That Big Axe is pretty untouchable right now. So Miguel's actually throwing one of these famous hammer hatchets that are really blowing up on the scene right now. Brought into the sport by Sean Malvey out in Philadelphia, and now pretty ubiquitous. I mean, I throw one myself. I know that probably half the people in Hamilton throw them, and I'm seeing them show up a lot. Ace Hardware is having a hard time keeping stock of these axes.
Well, if you're tired of the trouble getting an axe gang, maybe it's time to change.
Yeah, and you save quite a bit of money on that, going switching to the Ace as well. Miguel's up by 2. He's calling that clutch because he really wants to take this round, not force it to Big Axe. And he does so.
Round number 5, we are 2 for 2.
Jeff doing the info there for us. It's round 5, tied at 2.
Jeff takes scorekeeping as seriously as he takes axe throwing.
I think Jeff just takes life as seriously as he takes axe throwing.
He's not a shades of gray. He's all or nothing.
Yeah, he really plays for keeps. I was talking earlier about how we got to see his tiny house last night.
Yes,
And it's a pretty incredible setup. And his dog Hayes is a beautiful, wonderful creature. Here we go, bullseye and bullseye. Ooh, looking a little high. He's calling 5. Miguel wants to take another look.
It's a gentleman's sport.
It's a good call, though. I mean, Nathan coming in with the confidence, I would say I do it myself, but I always want to make sure the other person is agreeing,
comfortable with it.
right? You can't just say it's good and pull it out. You got to make sure that the other person agrees.
If anything, I find people are more deferential in axe throwing. They want you to agree. They want you to agree with it.
And that's the way to be. That's how we keep our family unified, right?
You want a clean win. You don't want an asterisk win.
Yeah, I definitely would not. If I won anything knowing that I had lied, I don't know if that's ever a real win.
I don't think that would be any fun.
Oh, good. And Nathan looking a little questionable. It's no good for Nathan. Oh, Jeff's really in there, though. No go.
Oh. I think he's going to pull it and
Ooh.
see.
Looking at the line. Jeff really making the call here. No good.
No good. Man.
I mean, generally, if Nathan says it's no good, we kind of take the axe and we go with it. But again, Jeff takes things seriously. And he's here to make sure it is the right call every time. Looking like bullseyes for both.
Second act.
a 3 for Nathan. No device call there.
Miguel up by 2.
So Miguel's up by 2. Let's hope he can keep hanging on to these bullseyes and get to that clutch before Nathan flexes his big axe again. I gotta get one of these axe hip holsters that all these Austin folks have. That's not something that we have up in Canada for a lot of. Some people have them, but I've seen a lot more here than I have in my life, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're homemade, so just make sure you put it in order.
Yeah.
Before you go, oh.
Oh, tough shot for Miguel. What's Nathan gonna do here? And the bullseye takes the round.
Number 7.
Round 7, tied at 3 apiece. If Nathan wins this round, he wins our matchup here tonight. And a couple of bullseyes is a good way to start it off. I still can't get over that vest. That vest is so sick. I mean, I could not pull off the vest personally, but man, it looks good on Nathan.
It takes a powerful man.
It does. A lot more confidence than I have. Again, speaking to the singing on the stage thing,
right.
I'm definitely a voice in the background, not so much a man on the stage. Bullseyes for both.
They really are a well-matched pair.
Tied at 20, going clutches. This will decide the match.
It's good.
Nathan hits, and
Gonna need it.
oh no.
It's just outside.
And Miguel
It's a no.
misses. Nathan is the champion of this grudge match pairing tonight,
Good game.
reestablishing himself as the King of Austin here. The Champs Point champion, the grudge match champion as well. Congratulations to Nathan, and congratulations to Miguel. A great performance from both. Bret, the Hitman Hartman, coming up to congratulate Miguel on his performance. He did a fantastic job earlier as well. But Nathan just on fire that whole match. I believe we are at the point of the swap, though, before our final matchup here. Candace, thank you for joining us.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks for
really
having
appreciate you coming on, and thanks for all the context, all
Absolutely.
the information, and
yeah, great.
enjoy the rest of your league night.
Thank you, sir.
And I believe my man Dan, handsome Dan himself, is going to come in here and join us on the broadcast for the final matchup. Dan, I actually have a tiny little bit of an internet crush on. I was introduced to Dan's YouTube channel about 2-3 weeks ago, and being a YouTuber myself, I was really excited about getting to meet Dan and getting to have him on the broadcast. I had to make sure that he was paired up with me here on the finals match because, handsome
man.
Dan himself. Listen to that voice.
Hey, it's me. Yeah, thanks for coming down, man. I highly appreciate the opportunity to work with you. Highly appreciate the opportunity to be here and watch this match. These guys are in my league that I coach every Sunday.
Oh, fantastic.
So this is a long-running rivalry that we're going to see here. But yeah, I'm also going to be switching and talking at the same time, so please forgive me if I, have some problems here.
I'll try and pick up the slack, man, but
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sure you're going to do more than a good enough job.
We'll see, man. We'll see. But yeah, how have you been enjoying Austin so
Oh
far?
my
Let me
God!
ask you.
So I work for Battle at home in Canada,
Sure.
and I was saying to somebody last night that I know Battle's opening a bunch of new locations in Texas. We
Yeah.
just did a big announcement of that, and if Matt Wilson, if you're hiring a GM for the Battle in Austin, I will definitely take that role. Ship me out here because I love this city so much.
I thought you were going to poach me on live air, man. But yeah, man, I actually had an opportunity to go to the one in Houston recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was a very cool setup that you guys have going there. I'm excited to see where it goes, especially whenever we have one closer. Yeah, man. So you were in Battle Toronto?
I'm in Hamilton. So I spent 10 years in Toronto. I learned how to throw at the original Sterling location, but I was never a league member. I just went for a couple of events, went on a couple of dates, and, you know, had some friends there, went to some of their outrageous parties that definitely are not things that we can talk about on this broadcast. But, yeah, the axe throwing community has always been something that I've really loved and appreciated. And when I moved to Hamilton, I didn't know anybody, which is about an hour outside of Toronto. I found out that they had a battle location in Hamilton, and I knew that that would be a quick way to make some friends. And
Oh, yeah. I mean, every time I tell somebody that I'm in this, it's less about the actual axe throwing. It's more about finding a weird thing that everybody all enjoys and goes super in on. You know what I mean? It can be anything. It doesn't have to be axe throwing at all. It just has to be something that everyone enjoys and takes seriously, you know?
definitely.
I think we're about ready to go here. I need Nathan to get off of his iPhone and make eyes at me. But until then, something that you will notice between these two guys, the height difference, and while they do throw similarly, there is a difference in physiology here. It's going to be interesting to see.
Of course.
They do almost the same thing back to back, but you will notice some variation in what they do based just entirely on their two different body structures. It's interesting to watch.
So I do want to like give a little bit of an intro and some context to
Sure.
the people that we're seeing here, and both, you know, the importance of these people in the Austin community, but also just the quality of throwers that we're going to watch. So I'm going to start with James GREGG, and I'll let you speak to Jeff Cope after that.
Of course.
But James GREGG, I got to know James through Facebook, through the online axe throwing community, but he's kind of the guy that did all of the firsts in Austin. He was the first natural perfect match, which is a 75.
Yes.
He was the first 81, first 70-plus season, and he still holds the highest average, most perfect games, most perfect matches, and most 81s in Austin. This is the guy in Austin for axe throwing.
He is indeed the guy. That said, I have a feeling that Jeff Cope would have something to say about that. He's steadily been on his way to being nearly perfect in every game that I've seen him throw recently. Yeah, he is the league master here at Urban Axes. He goes by Texas Axe Master and the NATF. That is his nickname. And uncharacteristically, starting with a drop on James GREGG.
This is the thing. Like these guys are legitimately world-class competitors, as I believe both of them went to the NATC this year.
You are correct. Oh, you okay there?
Sorry, folks. Had a frog in my throat there. But, yeah, these are world-class competitors. But you can see with all these people here, the cameras on, you know, the jitters can still happen to the best of the best.
That was an element that I was interested to see. These guys have thrown against each other for the past year or so. I started coaching here almost this time last year. And since then, these guys have been in the same league, always ending up number 1 or number 2 in the playoffs.
It's really been a battle back and forth.
The thing is, there's never been cameras on them whenever they do this. So I'm interested to see if they do get camera shine. I know that Jeff has, let's call it confidence. Of course, I know both of these guys, you know, on a personal level, so it's fun to, you know, rip on them subtly every now and then.
It is.
Of course.
And it's funny when to speak to the axe throwing community online. It's funny when I come to some place that's like the other side of the bottom of the continent versus the top of the continent where I'm usually from, but I come all the way down here and it's like I'm hanging out with, you know, friends and family, even though in some cases these are people I'm only meeting for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how it brings people together, and we are very well connected for a global sport. Clutch called.
Final axes here, tied at 20, going clutches. The crowd's really hyping it up. Oh,
shooting a little low for Jeff. Interesting.
So we've got a round apiece here. James getting back in his groove. Jeff with an unlucky miss there. But we're back to bowls.
So you'll notice that they are both doing the, what you called earlier, the Canadian flick. However, this is part of the subtleties that I was wanting to mention earlier. Jeff has a sort of a cock back on his wrist here. You know?
Give it a little extra torque.
After a certain point in these matches, because this can go for a while, I'm interested to see if fatigue will get either of them. If they will start shooting lower than they intend to.
The silent three, as some of us call it, creeps up on you.
I think we just jinxed him.
James Gregg's up by 2. He's throwing for a bowl. I think he wants to see some big X either. Or, nope, sorry, clutch called. Clutch answered. Great job for James.
So we are 1 matches to 2. Sorry, one game to 2. My mistake. Terminology in the NATF is always very confusing.
Yeah, and
rounds are games, games are rounds.
Yeah, and especially that's been something that I've been kind of toiling with the whole grudge match thing. We would call it at home, these 5 throws would be a game.
Yes.
And then the best 3 out of 5 or the best 4 out of 7, that would be referred to as a match.
Yeah.
But then in these things where we're doing the best 2 out of 3 matches, what do you call the entire thing? Right? Is it a pairing? Is it a matchup?
A set, maybe?
Is it a set? Yeah, we could go with tennis.
It's almost like the sport was invented by a bunch of guys who drank beer all the time.
Yeah. It's almost like it's played by people who still do.
Wow. Who would have thought?
Clutch is called, tied at 20. Jeff Cope on the left, James Gregg on the right. Oh. Clutches for both, and we get to see Big X. This is what I was really looking forward to.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if I can pull this off while I am talking.
James is actually, James took me out on the town last night, really showed me a real good Austin time. And of course, as you do when you hang out with somebody in the axe throwing community, he was talking to me about his game, and he said he's been, since Nationals, really rebuilding and trying to tighten things up that he saw were places he could improve while he was at Nationals. So he said that his average this season has taken a bit of a hit, but he's really kind of dropped down into a ravine to come back up on the other side. And I'm really excited to see this new and improved Big Axe throw that he's been talking to me about. And also really excited to see Jeff Cope's Texas flag Big Axe flying through the lane as well.
Yeah, he has modified that thing to where he can almost do his same exact throw with his small axe as with his big axe. It's very interesting to watch. Of course, he is a big guy, but I did notice whenever he came back from Canada this last time, he was kind of broken up about it. You could tell that he really wanted to do better than he did. So he has been on the up.
What do we got?
First Big X.
3 for James Gregg. It's a good-looking throw, though.
Oh, yeah. Textbook.
And here comes that one-handed throw that you were talking about from Jeff Cope. Settling into his position. Ooh, and the flick and the bullseye.
Hey, it works. Do whatever works, man.
And this is one of those things that I talk to a lot of axe throwers about, especially when I see them throw a one-handed big axe, is when you get into these longer format matches, where here we could have 21 rounds of play, theoretically, if we go to all of them. You could have 21 rounds of big axe in theory. We're not going to see that today, but you could throw a lot of big axes.
Yeah. That is honestly my personal weakness, as you probably saw from my last YouTube video. But that's not to say that it's not a skill that can be worked on and that people are getting really damn good at that.
Yeah, definitely. I always get so stressed when I see the one-handed big axe because I know for myself, if I threw 50 of those things, I don't know if I'm throwing one more after that.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be built like Popeye at the end of the day,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
So we're going clutches.
Double clutch called. It's not unusual to see these guys hit 27s whenever they play against each other.
And we're both good. We get to see that big X again. So in tradition with the big X, what you usually do is one person will go first. The next time you go big X, you'll swap. And that's the way you play out the rest of the match.
Right.
On league play, you only see big X if you tie the match, not tie the round. So you're only getting one chance to throw big axe, and that who throws first thing is a little more important in those regular season play things. But when you get to playoffs, when you get to tournaments, personally, I don't have a preference, and I know I'm going to be switching back and forth anyways.
Well, as you said earlier, we have the potential to throw as many big X's as we do. It doesn't necessarily matter, you know?
Yeah.
That's more of a courtesy at that point.
Oh, a tough one for James Gregg. Jeff Cope hyping up the crowd.
It's that trademark confidence that we saw earlier.
Jeff leading 3-2 here. Jeff wins this round. He takes this first match. And we got a pair of bullseyes out of the gate.
Interesting piece of trivia.
Hit me with it.
Over the past year, these guys have been in the same league, like I said, Sunday Green,
Yep.
have faced off against one another, always ending in the number 2 or number 1 spot, like I said earlier. However, the last 2 leagues that Jeff threw in Sunday Green, he was able to take it. He was able to come back and defend his title. And since then, he's dropped out of Sunday Green, while James is still in it. So James is wanting to take him down because he hasn't had a chance to in a few weeks now.
So when we got to see Jeff's tiny house last night, he has his 2 league championship trophies in there, and James was in there with me, and when he saw the trophies, he was like, yeah, but then he left, so he's going to be real proud of those because there's no chance he's going to get another one.
Of course, you're going to retire on top.
Yeah. The old Conor McGregor right there.
It is looking like Jeff has taken the first match 4 games to 3.
So following our bracket here, well, it's not a bracket, but the layout of the matchup.
A very official 2-man bracket.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we go to the second round. If James pulls this off, we will go to a third. But if Jeff wins this best 4 out of 7, he will be the champion of this matchup this evening.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was curious what he was doing with all those trophies in his tiny home.
Yeah, I mean, it also kind of speaks to how much we all care about axe throwing when you're living a minimalist life where you're living out of a tiny little bus and you get rid of all your belongings except for the 2 axe trophies that you have next to your bed.
Of course, you hang them next to your diplomas and family photos.
Yeah, which I didn't see either of those in there, but that's okay.
James is throwing what I believe is that a plum?
It's the Plum National. He just got this axe a little while ago, and he did some work on restoring it. And he was showing me it last night and talking to me about it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful axe. Same style axe that a lot of the Philly throwers throw. These Plum Nationals they're just real high quality steel. They're vintage axes. And you can get them down to a paper-thin, razor-sharp blade that's really going to bury into that board.
We are in another big X. First round, not match, round of the second match.
James hits that big bullseye. That's what we were hoping for. That's what we were looking for. That's what I was expecting. So glad we're back on par here.
Yeah, the first match is always a warm-up, you know.
Yeah. And Jeff Cope looking low. James takes the first round. The one thing that I admire about James Gregg is his icy stone face when he's playing these matches. It's all business all the time.
Oh yeah. It's very hard to read the man whenever he's in the zone.
Oh yeah. And it's one of those things where I remember watching YouTube videos from the regionals where these guys actually faced off in the Southwest regionals, I believe.
Yes.
And James was just like in this steely stare the whole time, and I was like, man, I hope I never have to play that guy. He looks like just a mean man. And then I got to meet the guy, and he's one of the kindest, nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Well, it's just 2 different modes, you know?
Yeah.
You get competitive, and then you get friendly whenever you're done being competitive.
Got to get down to business, right?
Of course. Of course, there's something to be said about these guys' nicknames and how they Clutch called. How they do see themselves as axe throwers. The Texas Axe Master is what Jeff Cope calls himself, versus Bulls on Parade. A Rage Against the Machine, Sean.
I
of all
really,
things, you know?
really love that one.
We are going to yet another big axe, 27.
27s, 27s, 27s. Just a flawless, well, not flawless, but
Well, it's the
a
main
very
event.
high caliber performance
Of
here
course.
tonight.
The main event, you got to give the people what they want.
Jeff Cope back on that bullseye. I was kind of hoping he'd be wearing his cowboy hat tonight. I'm not going to lie to you.
Have you ever tried to throw in a cowboy hat?
I have not, but I did
It's-
see some videos where they had to pin them up.
Yeah, it's a little destructive. Let's put it that way.
I have to say, I don't know if I've ever like worn a cowboy hat. So, oh,
How long are you in town?
yeah. I mean, maybe we do that
I
tonight.
mean, I was going to say, you got time.
Okay, so Jeff Cope takes that round with that flick throw big axe.
1 round apiece, round 3.
So, little fun facts about Jeff Cope here. He is a Texas State grad with a political science and business degree. Though I didn't see the degree on the wall, it does exist. And he is, as I mentioned before, currently converting a city shuttle bus into a tiny home and plans to travel the U.S., see all the different states. He said he's hoping he can get up as far as Alaska at some point as well.
Interesting. So he is going to cut and run.
I don't know when, but I do know that it's in the plans.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Win as much as you can and then jet, never to
Yeah,
be seen again.
exactly. Like you beat James GREGG twice and then you just cut out of town.
Honestly, that's how you become a legend.
Yeah. I was actually talking to my Uber driver earlier tonight about it, and I had mentioned Jeff's tiny home.
Yeah.
And he was like, so is he just going to tour the U.S. and be like an axe hustler and like go play people for money and like that's how he makes his life touring around the country? And
course.
I hope to hell that he does.
Clutch called. Now we actually have an 18 to 20 in this round.
So he could put it out of reach here, and he does.
Very good.
But you can follow Jeff's shuttle life on Instagram at What a Shuttle Life. And you can actually check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff. He posts his reno videos and photos and stuff and, you know, what it's like living out of a shuttle, living in Austin, Texas for, I believe, about the past year now.
With a dog.
With a dog who is a beautiful creature and,
You keep saying that.
oh,
I love Hayes, but
no?
I mean, he is a handsome dog. I'll give him that. Beautiful? I don't know.
Beauty comes in many forms. Many, many forms.
Tied at 15, fourth X. It's close.
It's looking like
Both.
threes for both.
Interesting. This is where the fatigue starts to set in, I think.
Yeah. I also think on that fourth X, we're going clutches here, so I'll talk about it in a second. Looking high. And good on both sides.
We're
Oh,
going-
no, sorry.
Interesting.
Wow.
3 round wins for Jeff in a row.
Looking like it might be a 3 there. Bullseyes. Tied at second X.
It's interesting that they would both go for clutch on that. One would think that at this level of play, especially against a rival from a long time, you would try to take what you can get.
Not wrong there. But is this more, is pride playing more into this than the hope to win?
That is fair. That's a fair question to ask. A lot of elements going into stuff like this. This is very much a mental game.
This could be it here. James GREGG really needs to hit that clutch. And he does. So we're going to Big Axe. Jeff, having won the last Big Axe round that we saw, is probably feeling pretty confident going into this.
I don't know, there's a lot on the line.
James GREGG really needs to pull this one off here, though.
Throwing the Agdor, or the Demon Maiden Sweden, as they call it.
I love that axe. It's... Oh!
bullseye.
big bullseye. There we go. That's
A little
what
bit
we
of a
want to see.
double tap on that one, but as long as it's in, it's good.
Jeff Cope up to throw. He needs to match that bullseye, and if he does, clutches are alive. They are not mandatory, though, but I have a feeling that if we can get there, they are in this case. And a
Oh,
three.
shooting high.
James Bret takes the round, hangs on for another round here. Jeff leads 3-2. James needs to win this round and another to force a third match. But if Jeff wins
the hat is
another
on.
round here,
The hat is on.
it's surprising. Usually it's the hat comes off near the end. I don't really know how that.
Now, something interesting about the NATF rule set regarding steps, and there has been some questioning about it recently. You don't have to wait on your opponent. This isn't bowling,
Right.
but you can't deliberately stall the game either. But you will start to notice people like this start to take their time at this stage of the match.
That was so something that I used to do was I was always trying to hold a high pace and throw first, so I wouldn't see what the other person threw, and it wouldn't get in my head.
That is a tactic. People have tried to pull on me anyway, I should say.
Well, more recently I've been trying to slow it down because sometimes, especially if somebody else is also pushing the pace, you throw a little earlier than you need to. Clutch is here. This is a big one.
Tied at 20.
James Gregg hits. Jeff Cope hits. We're going to Big Axe again. Jeff Cope throwing the Council Tools Boys axe. He has painted the Texas flag on the head. It's one of the prettiest, coolest little axes I've seen. A tough three for him, though. James Gregg to throw that Agdor. My favorite axe in the game. I'm not going to lie to you.
You know, I've never thrown one.
Oh. With all the Agdors here, I'd figure you would have. Oh, no!
Oh,
It's a one. And Jeff is your champion. What
Wow.
a performance.
Wow.
And what a way to go. Great showing from both. Wow. So now I guess we know who the real king of Texas is.
Well, until he jets anyway.
Yeah.
What a match by a fantastic pair of throwers.
Wow. And what a night. Like, performances in general. I'm just so glad to be here, so glad to see everything that happened tonight. I want to say a huge thanks to you for doing all the broadcasts and everything. You did a phenomenal job.
I mean, it seemed to go swell.
It really did. And like this grudge match thing has been a grassroots thing from the beginning. We're doing a little thank you from everybody, doing some cheering. We'll let everybody see what that looks like out here in the lanes, and we'll talk to you guys. Do a little sign off for a second.
Also, for all of our commentators, guys, that's not easy to just kind of make up for us on the fly, believe me, you know that. So let's hear it for our commentators.
Well, we really appreciate the thanks. Jeff Cope giving a big thanks to us on the commentary booth. Really appreciate you guys.
You were watching the live stream, you guys.
And a big thanks to Dan.
Basically, my band, guys.
Handsome Dan himself. Big thanks to
I had a lot
him.
of help. I had a lot of help.
Oh, this is uncomfortable for me, but thank you.
Last but not least, you guys, I want to say thank you to Urban Axes, you guys. All right, they are what puts all of this together. Matt came from Battle, you know,
Yeah, Battle's fine. It's just like the company that
but
started
guys,
this.
Urban Axes Austin, you guys, y'all are it. So thank you for your support, you guys, because you are what makes this sport so fucking great. No. All right, if I didn't have a community to fall back on axe throwing, that's really not going to shine into that zombie apocalypse. So thank you guys for just being a part of this. This is what makes the sport so great.
Now I get it. I mean, Jeff's a great guy, but what a great leader. And a huge thanks to all of our spectators for coming out tonight. The amount of people that came here and the amount of people watching the live stream at home, we're just like so happy with how this whole thing turned out. But what I was speaking to before, yeah, we're going to full circle for the after party if anyone in Austin wants to join us. But speaking to the grassroots nature of the Grudge Match, we originally started it just friends talking about stuff on Facebook, and it grew into the first edition that happened in Philadelphia, which was an amazing accomplishment. The Philly practice space people put that on, and they did a really, really incredible job. But this one, for me, especially being able to come here and host this thing, is really like the dream version of what this Grudge Match thing was supposed to be. So I just want to say a huge thanks to all you folks in Austin for, making this all possible and doing this for us.
Well, keep doing what you're doing, man. We'd love to have you as much as we can have you, dude. And we will hopefully see you again very, very soon whenever we have some more rivalries to fill out.
Yeah,
man.
I
What's your next
definitely.
stop?
So the next stop that we're working on, there's 2 in conversations right now. I'm hoping for one in Toronto, and hopefully it'll be at one of the new venues that's opening up pretty soon. That'll be pretty exciting. And then after that, we're also in talks with X Club America in North Carolina. They're really excited about getting a Grudge Match down there, and they've got some huge, huge competition. So I'm really looking forward to taking the Grudge Match down to see those guys.
Fantastic, man. Well, thank you for joining us. We will see you next time.
Thanks for having me,
Ladies and
man.
gentlemen, thank you for watching. That is the end of our broadcast tonight. Come throw axes with us if you're ever in town, East Side Austin. Bring your beer, bring your dates. We'll act like we've never seen you before. Stay rad, everybody.